Firing laser core. Enemy pilot eliminated. Warning, enemy pilot attacking.
Yo, what's going on everyone? My name is Tricky Acid and welcome back to another Titanfall 2 video. If you haven't heard the big news, EA has acquired Titanfall developers Respawn, and I thought I'd sum up the pros and cons of how this could be the best thing to ever happen to Respawn, and especially for the future of Titanfall. But also some of the few issues that the studio could also encounter and how it could affect us, the fans. There are always two sides to a coin, so here are my opinions. If Respawn under EA's belt will help them reach new heights, or will they be burnt to a crisp like other studios?
Laser core ready. Ion laser core activated.
First up, EA has purchased Respawn for a whopping $455 million. And EA clearly have high ambitions for Respawn, hence why they wanted to acquire the studio. But saying that, EA has also a history of closing down other studios in the process. Clearly, there's serious business decisions behind them, and the most recent studio being Visceral Games, the developers behind the Dead Space franchise. So I'm not slating EA for these decisions, it's a business, but the last thing anyone would want is Respawn ending up in the game studio graveyard. But with a killer app like Titanfall, Respawn clearly have a winner under their sleeves that I'm sure EA would love to help go beyond anything the Titanfall franchise has done so far. And I'll expand on that point fairly soon. But as it stands right now, EA with gamers aren't in their best books, mainly over the whole ordeal of the pay-to-win operation EA had going with the Star Wars Battlefront 2 title. I made a video on it as well, so you can click on that so you can go into greater detail on the matter, but to sum it up, EA had pretty much put a paywall in front of hero characters in the game, and you had to either grind for ridiculous hours to unlock them or pay for loot boxes just to see if you might get a hero character. It's a disgusting practice, and it got so bad that EA did a complete 180 and have temporarily removed microtransactions from the title. And this makes me think, because microtransactions have been around for a while with games, but EA clearly took the cake here by trying to exploit people for their money, in my opinion. When you charge full price for a game and then expect gamers to pay extra to unlock characters, that's wrong. It's okay if it's aesthetic, such as new skins for example, but not when you lock off characters that could highly assist as being a game changer. So that is a concern, that if they may pull that off with Titanfall 3, but with the negative reception they received, and for EA to turn back on their original decisions, it could be a thing of the past. And that gets me going for Titanfall 3 and the future for Respawn. EA is a massive company, and Titanfall 2, sadly, as brilliant of a game as it is, the marketing was poor and was left in the darkness sooner than expected. But this is where EA comes in. They'd want to make back more than what they put into Respawn, and so I'm sure they'd provide a far greater marketing campaign that Respawn could ever pull off, which would only help and expand the Titanfall universe, meaning the hype for Titanfall 3 could go far beyond what it is today, and it would only introduce new gamers to the shooter. And on top of that, EA could end up with another mainstream shooter that is up there with Battlefield. Just imagine Titanfall finally getting the recognition that it deserves. Another positive factor is that Respawn may get a far larger budget for Titanfall 3. In fact, it will get a larger budget for Titanfall 3, because I don't see why they wouldn't invest in such a big title, especially other projects as well. And that means Titanfall 3 could be bigger and better than what the developers may have thought of originally, thanks to that larger budget. On top of that, currently Titanfall runs off a heavily modified Source engine. It's a nice game engine, but it's a very dated engine as well. And I do give props to Respawn for making the game look decent, and it performs very nicely as well. But with new releases, with games that blow us away with their visuals and immersion, a new game engine would really make a massive difference for Titanfall, as well as the quality of games that Respawn can produce now in the future. It would actually feel like a next-gen title, and with EA, who have invested in the Frostbite 3 engine and have used it across some of their titles such as Battlefield 1, I'm sure Respawn could take advantage of that. Titanfall 3 could look incredible with greater particle effects, physics, and even with the addition of environmental changes such as weather effects like you get in Battlefield 1, Respawn could really take this game series to the next level, and being in a Titan could feel more immersive than ever before. And that is an incredible thing for Respawn. Look at Anthem as an example. It looks phenomenal. And the way it plays, it's so smooth, the gameplay is cracking, it blew us all away, and that's all thanks to EA backing up studios with these big budgets and advanced game engines so they can make their visions a reality. On the contrary, EA have released some games that aren't totally up to scratch, and a prime example of that is Battlefield 4, which was very buggy, and it took nearly half a year after the release where DICE probably managed to finally patch everything up, and at least we have the great shooter that Battlefield 4 is today. But it did hinder the reputation of the franchise, IMO, for the Battlefield series for a little while. But all those things, all things considered, have been sorted out now. And I hope Titanfall 3 or other projects that Respawn are behind will not go through the same kind of treatment. On top of that, many of the Respawn developers and the CEO Vince Zampella have already had history with the previous publisher that they used to work for, as they are ex-Infinity Ward employees, so I'm sure they've taken this into high consideration before even signing up with EA. And I'm sure both EA and Respawn have come to a nice agreement, and I hope both companies will work in harmony with each other. With all that said, that pretty much wraps up this video, and I hope you enjoyed it, guys. If you did, please give a like. I love all of your support, it really helps us out. Comment below on your opinions on EA acquiring Respawn, and if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Share this video with your friends as well, guys. Thank you for all your appreciation and support, and I will catch you all next time.